Alright. It's been a while since we've been on here. Well, by which I mean a couple of days.
Thank you for completing to...
Which means it's time for me to resume some story quests. We recently unlocked Neuvillette's story quest, so we're probably going to do that next. I don't know what this Game of the Rich thing is, though. So I might do that at some point. And apparently there's some sort of quest I could start from... Paleontological investigation of the camel. Oh, that's the fossil thing. But there's apparently something we can start at the Adventurers Guild as well, but I'm not super worried about it. Oh, I have enough for another key. Oh, did they make these only cost 1 key now? I guess it's these that cost 2 over here. We'll get around to doing more of these eventually, at some point. I guess Chongyun is next on my list to do. Honestly, I'm kind of putting off doing these. Not super important. We'll probably take a small break from Genshin after this stream, and then we'll probably do other streams of other games. So, cover that when we get to that. The remains of the past day. A familiar threat.
It's been a while since we last saw Neuvillette. Paimon wonders what he's been up to. Paimon has so many questions about his true identity. Let's go talk to him and find out.
I wonder why the gold sparkles are leading me this way. Is there like an elevator I'm not aware of? There is an elevator, that's right, it's in here.
Looks like we're running out of Type 3 screws.
Palais Memoria. I don't really have much else to talk about right now, so I'm mostly just intrigued to find out more about Neuvillette, and I'm sure it has something to do with the Melazines, considering Elnias was the previous Hydro Dragon, to my knowledge, unless it's just a giant monster. And at some point, I guess I'm gonna have to go up here. Who knows, maybe we'll get to do that during the Neuvillette's mission. I have been delaying exploring the upcoming area, because I'm sure it's tied to a world quest. Probably that thing that Catherine wants me to do. I don't think I have taken enough time to stop and appreciate the music in here.
Did I hear that right? Monsieur Neuvillette, are you sure you'd like to take over the case yourself?
That's right.
No, but why? Technically speaking, cases like this are better left to the guards. Neuvillette! Sidine! Hey there! What are you two talking about? Ugh, Traveler and Paimon, please help me talk our Chief Justice out of this. He wants to investigate a case on his own. This is completely unprecedented. How can we have the Udex acting like a private detective?
Planning to break into a new industry?
Thank you for your concern, but I currently have no such plans. Oh, apologies. I took your question in earnest, but it now occurs to me that it was most likely in jest.
So, what is it exactly? It sure sounds serious if it's something you've got to investigate personally.
A Melusine named Kiara received a threat letter.
Oh, that's not good.
And then?
That is all the information I have acquired at this stage.
Huh? I have no idea why you're so hung up over this.
What's your connection to Kiara?
I've checked the schedule in advance, and it seems like there aren't any trials today. So, if you insist, I have no objections.
I like how the outfits on the Melusines for the guard outfit, it's specifically designed for them, and it even has the gap for the tail, for the split in the coat tail.
Thank you for understanding. I will leave a note explaining my absence on my desk. I would appreciate it if you could take it to Lady Farina. She may have no interest in official affairs, but standard procedure dictates that I'm still responsible for reporting to her.
Yes, understood. I'll come back later and deliver the note to her.
I also like that they skip when they walk. That's kind of cute.
Judging from Sadine's reaction, it must be pretty rare for you to investigate stuff personally. What's so special about this case?
I cannot tell you just yet, but it reminded me of certain past events. There could be complicated conflicts of interest behind all this, so I must eliminate all risks in advance.
Conflicts of interest?
Come on, stop being so secretive. We still have no idea what's going on.
It is not my intention to keep you in the dark, but I need some time to revisit those memories and collect my thoughts. Long story short, a little more than 400 years ago, I became the Iudex of Fontaine and initiated a series of institutional reforms. There were few people I could trust, but I had two subordinates who were exceptionally trustworthy and capable. Carol, a Melusine, and Vautrin, leader of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol.
They must have been amazing people to receive such high praise from you.
I'm guessing Vautrin is dead, because I'm assuming you've had this position for a couple hundred years?
Indeed. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to protect them.
Oh, they're both dead.
The reforms damaged the interests of some, and the more conservative faction took advantage of Carol's identity to instigate political unrest. Ultimately, they wanted me to yield more of my power.
This is going to be a deep political thriller, isn't it?
The incident resulted in Carol taking her own life, and Vautrin being exiled. From then on, I've been especially careful when dealing with cases related to Melusines.
That's fucking dark. You're concerned that you're the perpetrator's real target?
All Melusines used to live a secluded life away from human society. I granted their wishes when some of them, including Carol, asked me to bring them to the court of Fontaine. Many common folk believe that I share a special bond with the Melusines, and whatever they do can be traced back to me. Some of them, especially those who hold a grudge against me, exploit that belief and stir up conflict over Melusines in an attempt to lay the blame on me. I have nothing against the opinions of others, but the moment a whirlpool of conspiracy forms, it inevitably affects the innocent. It has already happened once, and I want to make sure it does not happen again.
Even so, why do you have to be the one investigating? There's the guards, the Maréchaussée Phantom, and the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol. Aren't they more than enough to figure out what's going on?
That is a lot of departments at your disposal.
Based on prior experience, there is a high chance that those who hold hostility towards me do not belong to the same department. The political system of Fontaine is relatively complex and involves the interests of multiple different factions.
Get my lights on so you can see my face more.
However, since I am technically an outsider in Fontaine, a lot of trouble could be avoided if I personally took on the case.
You're considered an outsider in Fontaine? Really?
Outsider? But aren't you the Chief Justice of Fontaine? Why would you be an outsider?
Because you're not human?
I understand where you are coming from, but there is not necessarily a connection between my responsibilities and how I perceive myself. You know very well about my true identity, and have even met others of my kind in other nations.
Hydro Dragon Sovereign. So, I guess the only other Dragon Sovereign we've met is at PEP. Which means I'm assuming it's probably required that you do Nihita's second story quest for this. I'm assuming.
Even though I was born with a human form,
Or
there
an
is a
age to
fundamental difference between dragons and humans. Taking on the role of Chief Justice does not make me a part of this community. In fact, the status I was granted has prevented me from forming deeper bonds with others. I have lived in Fontaine for a long time, but I do not belong here. That is why I call myself an outsider. A fish out of water.
If you put it that way, we're also outsiders to Fontaine.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with all those organizations anyway. So how about we come with you on your investigation? Let's team up and round up all the bad guys lurking in the dark.
That does not sound like a bad idea. I rarely investigate cases on my own, but with professionals like you around, I'm sure it will go a lot smoother.
Surprisingly, I want to say that we actually do this quite often.
Oh, Paimon's starting to get a little embarrassed. Just leave it to us.
We've worked with the Kamisato Commission, we've worked with the Millilith, we've worked with the Yuang, we've worked with the Academia, we've worked with the Corps of 30, we've even worked with the Eremites. Yeah, we have a surprising amount of, like, field oh, and the Knights of Favonius. How could I forget the Knights of Favonius? We have a surprising lot of experience in the field of investigation.
I will write my note of absence right away. Let us depart together once I'm done. Let us
She's gonna
go.
show up at the end, isn't she?
We should visit Kiara first and try to gain a better understanding of the situation.
So Neuvillette feels like he doesn't truly belong here in Fontaine, but is that really true?
I bet Duvallin don't feel like he belongs in Mondstadt either.
Paimon feels like he has a kinda skewed perspective on a lot of things. Anyway, let's catch up with him first.
Where is Zhongli actually a Dragon Sovereign? That's a question I don't think a lot of people ask.
Paimon's been thinking. You called yourself a fish out of water, right? But since you're the Hydro Dragon, would a dragon out of water suit you better?
Paimon.
Thank you for your suggestion. I will consider using the more accurate term in private occasions. Please allow me to rephrase. Has a dragon out of water?
Ugh. That sounds kind of weird. Let's stick with the previous version instead.
Thank God we agree there. Anywho. Did I accidentally just run up the side of the wall? Alright. I think we should glide down. Court of Fontaine, highly dangerous. I really need to start leveling my characters up to 90 so that I can stop seeing that damn warning.
The weather's amazing today.
Kiara.
Huh? Monsieur Neuvillette! And you are? Oh, I remember. You're the Traveler and Paimon. I've heard about you. Aw, she's adorable! Hey there, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for the compliment. Is there anything I can do for you?
I heard from Sidine that you received a threatening letter.
A threatening letter? Oh, right! I remember now. The letter fell through the crack in my door as I was heading out this morning. It said something about catching me, so I thought someone wanted to play hide and seek.
That's it?
But Sidine told me it was a threatening letter, and that I could be in danger. But that's not gonna happen with everyone looking after me, right?
Have you run into any suspicious-looking people recently?
Suspicious-looking people? What counts as suspicious?
I'm starting to lose faith in the police system of Fontaine. If this is the average intelligence of their guards. Someone who follows you from behind, someone who always strikes up conversation. No.
Ah! Did you think of something? Nope. I don't remember meeting anyone like that.
Do you still have the letter with you? I want you to show me what it says.
That is a good point. I would like to see it too.
Let's see. Found it.
Now then, get lost. If you don't leave the Maréchaussée Phantom, I will come and catch you in person. Don't say I didn't warn you.
It sounds like someone wants you to quit your job, but I don't know why.
A simple threat. Neither the handwriting nor the content itself reveals anything about the writer's intentions.
They're concealing their identity on
We
purpose?
can't rule out that possibility.
I have a bad feeling that Charlotte's about to walk up.
Since you can't think of anyone suspicious, I will be heading back to the Palais Marmonia to review some official documents.
Fuck, we never went back and gave Charlotte that information about the Duke.
Kiara, you should come with us. It's safer if you stay close by.
Sure. Wait, no. I still have a case to work on. I promised Alof that I'd check on her place later.
But you are being watched right now. Going off on your own could be dangerous.
And that's where we come in to help. We'll stay with Kiara and make sure she's safe. With us around, anyone scheming to hurt Kiara can forget about it. Thank you, Traveler. Big Sis Paimon.
Big Sis Paimon.
Don't worry, your Big Sis Paimon is super strong.
That's cute.
All right, let us go our separate ways for now.
But the
Please
fancy
take care
dogs
of
over there.
Kiara.
We'll take her to a lost place right away. See you around. So, Kiara, how old are you? Let me think. 1, 2, 10? I can't remember. But I remember coming to the Court of Fontaine with Carol and Neuvillette. That must have been a long time ago.
How long has Neuvillette been in Fontaine?
Carol? Didn't Neuvillette mention her just now? That was more than 400 years ago. Why would Paimon be a big sister to you?
How old are you, Paimon?
My memory isn't that good. But Carol told me I could address others based on how I feel about them. Paimon feels a lot more grown up than me, so you're a big sis.
Huh.
Paimon sees.
That makes sense to me.
Hey, Traveler, did you hear that?
Yeah, she is.
Strange. Paimon felt like someone was following us.
My 1920 census is tingling. A scoop there is.
Olaf!
Kiara, you're here. Huh? Wait, aren't these two...
Oh, they're the Traveler and Big Sis Paimon.
I thought so. What brings you here?
We're protecting Kiara.
Did you run into any trouble?
It's not really trouble anymore with us around. May I begin inspecting the store as planned?
Of course. Go ahead.
Melazines have the weird vision, right?
No hazards detected. You've cleared the inspection. Seems like the criminal from that case last month never set foot in here at all. That was quick. What were you inspecting? I took a look around the shop. Neuvillette says that us Melazines have special eyes that can see things people can't. Things like bloodstains. No matter how hard you try to clean them up, we Melazines can see their residual stains for some time. Pretty cool, huh?
So they have, like, blacklight vision.
All right, all right. Now that you're done inspecting, can we have a chat? Hear me out. I'm planning to release an outfit for children next month and wanted to hire you as my model. Is that okay with you?
Of course! Is there anything I need to do?
Please wait a moment while I take your measurements. The sample should be a perfect fit.
That seems a little bit odd.
Seems like they get along really well. Huh? What are you looking at?
Oh, it's just Charlotte in the bushes. Nothing important.
Is there really someone watching us? Shh! Let's sneak over and take a look.
Normally, it's Charlie in the bushes.
Strange. Why isn't he back yet?
Gotcha!
That's an image.
Ah!
That's funny. I'm gonna post that. That's a funny, funny image.
Charlotte, what are you doing here? Oh, wait, don't tell Paimon you're the one who sent Kiara that threatening letter. But you don't seem like the type to...
Threat letter? What threat letter?
What are you doing here exactly?
This is starting to feel like an interrogation. Okay, I'll be straight with you. I don't know the slightest thing about that threat letter you mentioned. I only wanted to follow Monsieur Neuvillette and request an interview with him.
You want to interview him?
That's right. I'm not the only one, you know. Interviewing him is every journalist's dream.
I can imagine.
But it's not an easy task to accomplish. The Palais Mermonia rarely accepts appointment requests from us, and we never have the chance to interrupt when the court's in session. So imagine how surprised I was seeing him out on the streets today. It seemed like you were investigating something too. The perfect opportunity to whip up an exclusive, don't you think? Of course, I'll make sure to turn in my manuscript to him for review. I have my principles, and I'd never publish an article without the consent of all parties involved.
Very respectable journalism. I don't think he'd agree. It's better if we kept this secret.
Yeah, we're doing a secret investigation that can't be made public knowledge.
I see. Well, if you say so, I guess I'll put this matter aside for now. What a shame. Chances like this don't come by very often, you know.
That being said, we do owe you information about the Duke. He, on the other hand, might be a weirdo that might actually be up for an interview.
In exchange, could you tell me what the threat letter is about? I swear I won't tell.
God, I don't want to hear that from a reporter ever.
All right, then.
What? Someone's targeting a cute little Melazine?
Shh, not so loud.
It just so happens that I did an interview with Kiara. Last month, in fact. It was well received by our readers, so I was planning to continue the series. And now someone's coming after her.
Probably because you just put a spotlight on her.
I'll ask my colleagues about it. Who knows? We might find something. And don't worry, I know what I'm doing. This secret's safe with me. But I gotta warn you, even if I keep my lips sealed, others will know eventually.
Why?
People care a great deal about Monsieur Neuvillette's each and every move. Some may have already realized that something was up. Besides, the case involves Melazines, so... Anyway, I'll get going now. Watch yourselves, all right?
I feel like something
Well,
racist
that was
is going to
a nice
happen
chat.
soon.
Let's head back and check on Kiara.
Oh, it's Clarand.
What do you think? The design looks pretty good, huh?
I think it's great!
Huh. It's very pretty indeed.
When did you get here?
Haran! What are you doing here? It seems that you just showed up out of nowhere.
As I passed by the Palais Mermonia, I heard that Neuvillette was investigating a case with you. Technically speaking, he and I are under an employer-employee relationship. It didn't feel right to have my employer personally take on such trivial cases. I happened to have some time at the moment, and came to take a look. I sometimes have my clothes custom-made at this boutique, in any case, so we always have a lot to talk about.
Ah, Neuvillette sure is lucky to have someone like you.
Leave this to me. You should go meet up with Neuvillette.
Okay then, we'll leave Kiara in your hands. Come on, let's go find Neuvillette.
Yeah, anybody with Clarand around is probably safe. Somebody recently pointed out to me that in that cutscene where her and Navia fight those Gardamex, she literally flips one over with her thighs. That was put in there for a reason, I'm sure.
How has your work been recently?
Same as usual. My schedule normally isn't too packed, so I have plenty of time for myself.
Ooh, then shall we go out to play? How about a beach vacation, like last time? I've even signed up as a volunteer lifeguard. I'm really good at swimming, so I'm sure I can help.
The whole a lot of people can breathe underwater thing definitely makes you better at swimming. Where did we agree to meet up with Neuvillette? All the way back up there. Can I just Tower of the Seven my way in? Alright, that worked out.
Oh, you're back. Is everything all right?
We ran into Clarand. She offered to help us protect Kiara.
That is good to hear. I trust her abilities. It looks like Kiara is in good hands.
We thought so too. Well, did you find any leads?
I've been looking over the case records, specifically inspection reports submitted by Kiara and major cases I've judged over the past decade.
Shouldn't we be looking back more than a decade if she's been around for 400 years?
I've come up with two plans. On one hand, I could start with Kiara and track down the group behind all this step by step. On the other, I could also analyze the conflicting interests of these major cases and confirm my suspicions if there is indeed a mysterious group that bears a grudge against me.
They both sound like pretty solid plans, but can you really finish browsing through all these documents? That's a lot of reading even for Paimon.
Don't worry. I'm a fast reader when it comes to official documents. After all, I have several hundred years of reviewing under my belt.
We'll help you read through them. We have nothing else to do.
Thank you. I will continue looking through the ones piled up on the desk, but feel free to browse through anything else in this room.
Representative Council's proposal. The Representative Council has filed a request to collaborate between the Marchus Phantom and certain public events. Based on research, they believe that the Melazines can enhance the popularity of these events. The Marchus Phantom has yet to respond. However, it has not prohibited the Melazines from participating in such activities. Bribery case. There has been a severe bribery scandal within the guards. The Special Security and Surveillance Patrol has investigated the case. All suspects involved have been arrested. The suspects have confessed to their crimes. Smuggling case. The smuggling case was solved by the joint forces of the guards and the Marchier's Phantom. The principal offenders have received judgment based on the severity of their crimes. Please refer to Appendix for list of names. About Risley. The defendant, Risley, has confessed to his crimes and was declared guilty by Iudex Neuvillette. Risley will be exiled to the fortress of Meripede, where he will be serving his sentence. During the trial, Neuvillette remained silent for a long time. Spina de Rusula. Callus, boss of the Spina de Rusula, was defeated in a duel and died from serious injuries. The defense of his honor has now come to close. The defendant did not raise any objections throughout the trial. Iudex Neuvillette reserved judgment in this case. Its details are still under investigation.
Have you made any progress?
We skipped through some of them, but there wasn't anything useful.
One of them was interesting.
Oh, there's so many documents lying around. Just how many cases have you handled?
It's 400 years, Paimon, a lot.
I would love to answer that question, but the truth is I've never made a precise calculation myself. If memory serves me right, there should be at least 100,000 cases. The documents you see are just a small fraction of what's really there.
Whoa, that's a lot. Looks like the work of a Chief Justice isn't easy at all.
It's not that surprising. There are some judges that see around like 5,000 in a year just in the United States. And you multiply that by 400 years, it hit 100,000 pretty quick.
That might be how it seems from another's perspective, but trials and official duties are, to me, simply routine.
Yeah, it's just your job.
There are many documents here. Take a break if you are tired.
You read Paimon's mind.
All right, let us take a break then.
All right. Awkward silence is awkward.
Even though resting is a part of taking a break, shouldn't we at least talk about something?
Thank you, Paimon. This awkward silence was killing me.
The silence is making Paimon feel really awkward.
Paimon, you and me are of the same.
Please pardon my lack of consideration. People rarely come to the Palais Mermonia for matters outside of work. To be quite honest, I am not sure what we should do. Would you like to have some drinks, perhaps? You must be thirsty after all that work.
Ooh, drinks! Thank you!
Oh, I just remembered somebody mentioned that
Paimon wonders what Neuvillette likes to drink. Oh, maybe he's a fan of really fancy wines.
Because I remember somebody mentioned, I think it was in one of the special, what do they call it? The special programs. They mentioned that he has a hobby of water tasting, which sounds silly it sounds really silly when you stop to think about it, it sounds very silly at a glance, but when you start to think about it and realize that's just a thing some people do. I've heard of it before. I think even ProZD has like a video about it.
He seems like the type of person who'd own an entire winery. You know, like D-Luke.
I think there's a subreddit for it too. Several exquisite wine glasses.
What's inside these glasses? It looks just like water.
It is water, isn't it?
An astute observation. It is indeed water.
He's swirling it in the glass.
So it's just plain old water?
What did you think it was?
Since you're the Chief Justice and all, Paimon thought you'd prefer something more sophisticated.
This water is indeed very special. It would not be an overstatement to call it sophisticated.
Is it like spring water? Is it like chilled water? Is it I'm really curious to what kind of water it is. Is it glacier water?
I believe you've already tried Fonta. In fact, there are many other drink factories in Fontaine, including those that specialize in packaging pure drinking water.
Ooh, it's pure drinking water.
Said water is sourced from all across Tevat, including Mondstadt's Cider Lake, Liyue's Chintsa village, and Inazuma's Konda village.
Interesting.
Here is one of their latest products, water from Sumeru's Apam Woods.
No, there's a big difference. We did the Aranara quest. We should know how special the water is from Apam Village, from Apam Woods. Is there any There's plenty of different. Come on, Ether, you're smarter than that.
If I were to comment on their mouthfeel, the waters of Cider Lake warm the heart. The waters of Chintsa village have a poignant touch, while one might call the waters of Konda village placid.
I mean, it's their sewer system, isn't it? It's like a river runoff that they use for sewage. So I hope you mean river water from Konda Village and not the sewage water from Konda Village.
Distinct differences exist between the waters of each area. You will appreciate their intricacies once you taste them carefully.
Probably different mineral contents as well.
Really? Let Paimon try!
As someone who drinks primarily more water than anything else, you can kind of tell the difference of good water and bad water. That being said, I don't understand why Dasani gets all the fucking hate. At the end of the day, it's water. If anything, Fiji water is my least favorite.
What do you think?
That's probably a hot take from me.
Nope. Paimon couldn't taste any difference at all. Isn't this just normal water?
Well, the best way to tell the difference between water is you would actually have to, have them back to back. With ideally with a palate cleanser in between, like tap water.
How regrettable. It seems like you still have a long way to go in refining your tastes.
Hey, this doesn't have to do with refining our taste. Paimon's pretty sure most ordinary people can't tell the difference. How did you do it anyway?
Some waters are so close enough to similarity that it would be hard to tell the difference, though. Like, let's say, tap water from California and tap water from Nevada. You probably would be hard-pressed to find the difference, but I'll tell you this much, as a United States guy and someone who has family in Michigan, there's a big difference between tap water in California and tap water in Flint. Lead, my favorite.
Oh, could it be because you're the Hydro Dragon?
That could be the case.
We are allowed to bring that up, right? Since no one else is around? Oh, Paimon's been wanting to ask this for ages. If you're the Hydro Dragon, why would you become Chief Justice in human society?
That is a good question, Paimon.
Sorry. Paimon was just curious. You don't have to answer.
There's nothing to hide. I was simply organizing my thoughts.
He doesn't even know.
I accepted this position because I wanted to seek out answers to questions that have perplexed me.
Questions? Are there really things you can't figure out?
Human emotions?
Many, in fact. But the one question that puzzles me the most concerns my own existence. In essence, I neither know why I was born in this form, nor do I understand where my long life should take me. I lost many memories from the moment I was born. The primordial sea, for example. I can only vaguely recall its connection to me, but I am unaware of what that connection is exactly.
Is there anyone who can answer those questions?
Perhaps the elemental dragons of other nations may have some form of an answer. However, they are scattered across all of Tevat. Abruptly visiting could very well pose an unpredictable risk.
Yeah. I'm sure Apep would love to talk to you about it, though.
True. Some of them have very unique personalities, too.
I have been holding on to these unanswered questions for a long time. But there is one thing I've discovered along the way. My emotions easily resonate with those of others. Even I don't have the slightest idea what they mean. My guess would be that there are at least some similarities between humans and myself. By observing their behavior, perhaps I could one day understand the meaning of my existence.
We all seek the meaning of our existence.
Have you made any progress then?
Perhaps, but I find such progress difficult to describe. As an outsider, chances to engage in meaningful interactions with others are few and far between. That's why I'm quite thankful for this chat. Such opportunities are rare. Alas, time is limited. We should move on with our investigation.
Are we gonna continue reading these documents? Paimon's getting dizzy already.
I wasn't able to find any leads even after browsing through most of the documents. But while we were on the topic of water a moment ago, another idea came to me.
Water? Do you mean...
The Fountain of Lucine?
That's right. The Fountain of Lucine is where all of Fontaine's waters converge. It is the vessel of countless memories and emotions. If there really were an organization attempting to use Melusines against me, they should also hold an intense resentment towards me. Perhaps we'll be able to find some new leads by sensing the hydro element within the fountain.
Huh. Why didn't Paimon think of that? Come on, let's go take a look.
And maybe we could talk to that weird Oceanid that's in there. That is like the amalgamation of all those murder victims.
Perhaps we should go. There shouldn't be too many people near the Fountain of Lucine during the evening.
Should we count that as murder? I'm not sure if that's murder. They're still technically alive. It's definitely like dismemberment or maiming, at least. They just turned them into water. And these cases are out here for us to read from now on. Can I read any of these? No? Probably should just teleport there. It's so far away.
Monsieur Neuvillette?
I probably shouldn't disturb them.
Alright.
Looks like we got lucky today. There's hardly anyone around.
What should we do next? Oh, Traveler, can you still hear the voices from the fountain?
Should I drink more primordial seawater?
Perhaps leave the investigation to me. I need you to take a few steps back and keep a safe distance.
A safe distance? Neuvillette, what exactly are you... Whoa, it's glowing!
Resonation with hydro. It would make you wonder if we should be able to gain elements from resonating from more than just the statues of the Seven. Oh, great. Oh no, we're here again. What just happened? Everything looks a little different. Should I continue forward or take a look around? I can't sprint. I can't jump. I can't attack. I can only walk. Or jaunt, I guess. Carol! Oh, this is gonna be sad.
Thank you for bringing us here, Monsieur Neuvillette. The Court of Fontaine is truly incredible. There's so many things I've never seen or heard before.
I understand your excitement, but there's no need to thank me. Although I have responded to your wishes, it was not without personal interest. Melusine's special sight make them especially suited for joining the Marechaussee Phantom. I'm certain you'll become an indispensable part of Fontaine's detective force.
I know, but I'm really glad to be of help. Not only can I repay you for your kindness, but also, it feels like my life has become a lot more meaningful.
But a meaningful life also comes with its risks.
It's definitely the safest to just stay in the village, but I want to see the outside world nonetheless. In truth, I've never really understood the purpose of my existence, or what I'm capable of contributing to this world. For almost 20 years, we've stayed in our village without finding any answers. That's why we wanted to leave our village and look for the meaning of our existence elsewhere.
I understand your confusion. In fact, I feel the same way. I too came here for an answer to my questions about my own existence.
Really? Could you tell us what we should do to fit in as you did?
I'm surprised he didn't just try to explore the world first.
The truth is, many people threw rocks at us today and told us to go back to our village. It hurt a lot when they hit me in the head, and I tried really hard not to cry.
Remember when I said a few minutes ago, I feel some racism coming soon? We found it.
Logically speaking, both time and effort are essential when different species attempt to peacefully coexist. It will be a difficult road ahead, with countless obstacles to overcome. Different identities and ways of thinking all contribute to strengthening the barrier between one another. Removing it will be no easy feat. There aren't many suggestions I can share, because just like you, I haven't fully integrated into this society. Despite my social status, I am still an outsider.
Oh, I see. Let's all do our best then. I'm confident that we'll find the meaning of our existence one day.
Hey, there's the trailer line.
I believe in you, but you shouldn't lose sight of the difficulties ahead. If you run into any trouble, I suggest that you inform Vautrin, the captain of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol.
Huh? Is he the person I met in the Palais Marmonia earlier?
Yes? Do you have any concerns?
That stone-faced human. He didn't even bother to look at me when I tried talking to him. It felt like he wasn't interested in anything but work.
He is an earnest man. There will be plenty of opportunities to work together in the future, so please try to get along.
Oh! There they go. Oh, wait. They were still there for a second. I can't even open the menu. I just realized. Puerto Rico.
Hello. Can I help with anything?
Thanks, but no need.
Oh,
Guard uniform minus the hat. Skip to my loo.
hello. I'm Carol, a Melazine. Is there anything you need help with?
Get away from here! I'm calling the guards!
Please, calm down. I don't mean to cause any harm.
But you're wearing a guard uniform.
Hard to say.
Yeah, we should probably stay away from these monsters. Haven't you realized? Strange incidents have been increasing ever since they came.
Why should we trust this species from who knows where anyway? I can't believe Neuvillette allowed them into the court of Fontaine just like that.
Exactly. That so-called Chief Justice even granted them official positions. Not only that, but they're now responsible for investigating cases as well. I swear, there's some hidden agenda at play here.
Go away! Quit acting innocent!
I'm not leaving. I won't let you say bad stuff about him. We joined the Maréchaussée Phantom and solved lots and lots of cases. We've never done anything wrong.
Solving cases? With Neuvillette in cahoots with you. You could have fabricated it all, and no one would know.
I mean...
So tell me, how can you guarantee that you Melazines aren't involved in anything that occurred recently?
Didn't I tell you before? Don't go advertising if you're not a good talker.
Vautrin?
Aside from spreading unjustified rumors, if you continue insulting members of the Mare Chaussee Phantom, the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol has every right to subject you to interrogation. There have indeed been an increase in cases recently, perhaps due to the shifting currents of conspiracy, and I understand your concern. However, there's been no evidence pointing towards Melazines being involved.
Even the captain of the security patrol is on their side. Neuvillette's newly reformed police force is already corrupt to the core.
How can two completely different species possibly coexist?
This is gonna get a whole lot worse before it gets any better, isn't it?
You heard that?
Yeah. I don't understand. Why won't anyone believe us?
There have been rumors saying that you were born from calamity, and that you inherently bring danger to those around you. There are countless negative rumors about you floating around in Fontaine. It's near impossible for you to become a part of this society. Best if you give up before it's too late.
Monsieur Neuvillette said that we needed to put both time and effort in. I don't know how long it'll take, but I can at least try making my best effort.
Ugh. We know how this ends, too, which is kind of tragic.
I still want to try a little harder. Thank you for bailing me out earlier.
Because this is apparently 20 years after they first joined here, which puts this about 380 years ago, so everyone here is probably dead.
Okay, I won't be taking any more of your time. I painted a lot of flyers last night, so I have to stay and hand them out to everyone.
Give them to me.
You're not gonna take them away, right?
We'll hand them out together. The faster we get this done, the sooner we can head back.
I still can't run. Oh boy. Have I activated this teleport waypoint yet?
Monsieur Neuvillette,
Oh, I
what's
just looped
this?
back.
Medals of Peace, awarded to you and Vautrin. Thank you for your continued dedication in the past 5 years. You've taken one small step forward in helping Melazines gain the trust of humans.
Wow, we're up to 375 years in the past now. We're gonna approach the present really soon at this rate.
I think I'll pass.
Hey, don't say that. We wouldn't have made it this far without you. It won't be long before Melazines begin living peacefully with the humans. Just the thought of it makes me happy.
Don't keep your hopes up. We've barely scratched the surface. There's still a long way to go before that dream of yours comes true.
Ugh, you blockhead! Don't ruin the mood!
Vautrin brings up a good point. The trust humans have placed in you is still very fragile. Any small incident could undermine the hard work you've put in.
That is also a very valid point.
Please be on your guard for the next few days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
And everything changed when a tragedy occurred.
Medal of Peace? Peace isn't going to give us back what's rightfully ours.
Are you sure we should do this? We're no match for Neuvillette, even with all our powers combined.
Nah, not gonna happen. As long as he remains in his position, there's no chance he'd take us out personally. There are rules even he must comply with in the political sphere. Unless he wants to become an enemy of Fontaine. So quit worrying and just go ahead with it. I've already planned out the murder. Once we lay the blame on the Melazines as the person who brought them to the court of Fontaine, Neuvillette will be left with no excuse.
I guess you're right. Ugh. If he just left things the way they were, it never would have come to this. But he's forced our hand. Time to teach him a lesson.
That didn't last long.
Turn the murderer in!
Melazines can't be trusted! That goes for Neuvillette, too!
Peaceful coexistence? What a joke. Get out of the court of Fontaine and don't ever come back!
Who's this?
The results of the investigation are in, Captain Vautrin.
Go on.
There is no direct evidence, but reasonable inference indicates that the ones controlling the situation are supporters of the old regime, whose interests have been undermined by the reform. They tricked Miss Carroll into going to the crime scene and pressed charges against her. After that, they incited panic among the people in order to make Monsieur Neuvillette confess to his mistakes and yield up power. The guards were stopped by the enraged mob and couldn't intervene in time. Miss Carroll chose to sacrifice herself to pacify the situation.
And she called me a blockhead. A little investigation would have cleared things up. Why didn't she wait until we'd established the truth? She didn't have to prove her innocence like that.
The situation had rapidly escalated to a physical altercation between infuriated citizens and the guards. Miss Carroll might have thought there was no better plan.
I recognize that voice. I think that's Mika Solasad. I might be wrong.
That is indeed something she'd do.
Captain Vautrin, should I present these results to Monsieur Neuvillette right away?
There's no need. Notify the guards to restrict public access to all information.
Restrict access to... Wait, are you planning to...
There's something I've never told Carol. I had a little sister named Ilaria who passed away when I was very young. She's just like Carol in every possible way. Innocent, kind, always believing the best of people. People like her are the most vulnerable to deception and betrayal. From the moment I met Carol, I knew that she'd be easily manipulated by others. I kept a cold demeanor and tried lecturing her into giving up.
Looks like she was unfazed by that.
Yes. In fact, some of her spirit must have rubbed off on me instead. Because I too began working towards that pie-in-the-sky dream of hers. I should have known. Those cowards don't have the guts to confront Neuvillette. They even avoided causing trouble for me. They were after Carol all along.
This is such a great character that we're never going to get... that we're actually getting to know pretty well, actually. I wish we got to know Callus to this same extent as that we got to meet Vautrin here. Because, Navia's story, we learned a whole lot about Callus, but it would have been really nice to see it rather than be told it.
Can you understand how I feel? Right now, there's only one thought on my mind. Only through bloodshed can their debt be repaid.
He's gonna kill someone, isn't he?
I understand, but I'm certain Monsieur Neuvillette wouldn't accept that as a solution.
That's exactly why we need to keep this a secret. Give me the list of suspects. What happens after this has nothing to do with any of you. I will take responsibility for everything.
This ended poorly. And I guess we're gonna see a trial now, right?
Did you know? They're hearing a major case today, and the criminal is Captain Vautrin of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol.
That was the guy that Carol talked to earlier, Rodrigo.
Apparently, he resorted to personal measures to seek revenge for Carol, and settled the score with the group that framed his friend. Hey, why aren't you saying anything?
I'm thinking... we should try our best to bail him out when the trial commences.
Bail him out? Why?
Shh, keep it down! Haven't you realized? Both Vautrin and Carol are Neuvillette's most trusted subordinates. After everything that happened to Carol, Neuvillette's guaranteed to do everything he can to keep Vautrin around. Besides, now that the old regime has been uprooted, Neuvillette's status is secure as can be. As long as we redirect public opinion, Neuvillette will be able to give Vautrin a reprieve. The benefits are endless.
Well, we already established they don't do the...
vengeance for his friend for a valid cause. This represents the justice he upholds.
Interesting. I wonder what the Oratress has to say about that.
Please, think about it. If the same thing had happened to you, wouldn't you feel the same way he did? Yeah, that's right!
This is an interesting turnaround, though. I'm assuming he's gonna still be guilty, but we remember from the previous thing, the only sentence is exile, which means he probably would have just spent out either the rest of his days in Meripede or just outside of the nation. Because this would have been about a couple hundred years ago.
This whole thing started because of those despicable cowards who levied false accusations against Carol. How could Vautrin be declared guilty for seeking revenge?
Monsieur Neuvillette.
Mr. Vautrin is innocent!
That's not how innocent works.
He's innocent!
Order! I acknowledge your arguments. Vautrin, your revenge could be seen as a form of justice. I understand your decision, which is why I cannot help but feel regret and even grief about the judgment I must now impose. Personal justice does not equate to justice as defined by the law. To execute your plan for revenge, you abused your authority and conducted informal executions. Your actions have thus violated the law. Therefore, you will be declared guilty.
What?
That can't be! Monsieur Neuvillette, please give this a little more thought. He has done so much for Fontaine.
Vautrin, my friend, is there anything else you want to say?
Neuvillette, what have I done to deserve this? I've closely followed every one of your orders. Can't you see? Everyone in this room believes that I'm innocent.
See, now it's just going to your head, Vautrin. I was on your side till this line, but come on. You should just take this with some level of dignity.
Is this what justice means to you? Answer me, Neuvillette!
Order. Since there have been no further objections, the Oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vautrin. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal, Mr. Vautrin will be declared guilty.
You would think that the Oratrice can basically absolve some of the guilt from...
Goodbye, Monsieur Neuvillette.
Some of the guilt. Because he is a judge, but it's the sentence is ultimately determined by a fucking machine. A Deus Ex Machina.
Because of Carol's naive ideas.
A Deus Ex Machina, one might say.
How can different species peacefully coexist anyway?
What was that?
Apologies, it seems like my memories got the better of me. I tried my best to suppress the power of Hydro within myself, but it seems like it still caused the emotions within the Fountain of Lucine to boil over. due to my negligence. The overflow of emotions and memories must have affected you as well. Are you all right?
No, I'm fine. It was like getting to walk through a movie.
Wow. The Hydro Dragon is more powerful than Paimon thought. Anyways, the last time we came here, the Traveler only heard voices from the Fountain of Lucine. No emotions boiling over or anything.
I mean, we did get teleported to a plane of consciousness where there was an ocean head. But, that's neither here nor there. But speaking of how powerful Neuvillette is, do you think we'll get Neuvillette as a weekly boss at some point? Like we do with Raiden Shogun in her second story?
It is as you said. This might be because I am different. It is not only the fountain. I can sense emotions from all waters in Fontaine. Rivers, lakes, and even the rain.
That sounds awesome!
Sounds like a lot of voices in my head.
But I rarely ever do anything like this. Emotions carried by water are always chaotic and disconnected. As an outsider, having my mind occupied with irrelevant memories isn't exactly a pleasant experience.
The memories I saw were related to you.
Which ones?
From when you brought Carol to the court of Fontaine to when you declared Vautrine guilty.
It's fine. I prefer not to speak of those memories. That does not mean I am deliberately hiding them. It was a coincidence, but perhaps it is a good thing that you saw everything in that form. You should now understand why I believe there to be a conspiracy behind all this. These two cases are much too similar. I felt like I needed to do something.
Paimon's starting to lose track of what you're saying. Don't leave Paimon out of the conversation. Paimon wants to help too.
Then let us get back to the point. While I was investigating the fountain, I discovered something strange.
What'd you find?
I did not sense too much hatred towards me within its accumulated emotions.
Was it towards the Melazines again?
However, I did find some resentment directed towards Kiara. If I remember correctly, it seemed to be related to a smuggling case.
That smuggling case did seem important.
I don't know what caused this to happen, but it seems like there won't be a shortcut to finding the organization that may be pulling the strings here.
Oh! Didn't we read about that in one of the documents?
We did.
You've read about it? In that case, the resentment should have come from that incident.
Huh? What are you doing here?
Navia!
I was just about to look for you at the Palais Mermonia.
Navia! Nice to see you again. Is there something we can help with?
I've heard some things, but I'm not purposely asking around or anything. Don't worry. Rumors are abroad that someone's scheming against Melusines, and that you're investigating the case.
Charlotte!
So I told the Spina di Rosula to keep an eye out for leads. We've had unfamiliar faces showing themselves at the Fleuve Cendre lately. Maybe you'll find the suspects among them.
Thank you. Where did you hear about all this?
The Chief Justice out on investigation, accompanied by the Traveler from afar. No matter how you conceal your whereabouts, there will be countless eyes watching you. You talked to Kiara, but didn't ask her to keep things secret. People curious to know asked around for information, then it was only a matter of time before word of the threatening letter spread all across Fontaine.
Damn, that went viral fast.
So that's what Charlotte meant.
Indeed. I did not expect
sorry,
that
Charlotte.
this could be kept hidden for too long, but the rumors still spread faster than I imagined.
You know, it could be because you attract more attention than you think.
Part of being secretive and a recluse draws a lot of unwanted attention.
Anyway, any progress with the investigation?
If you were more open and forthcoming, it would probably make you a lot less interesting.
The suspects who threatened Kiara might have to do with a certain smuggling case, but it is still uncertain if there is in fact another party behind all this. We are planning to return to the Palais Mermonia to revisit some details and identify the senders of that threatening letter.
All right, then I'll round up the Spina di Rosula and follow up on their progress. Wait for my word. Ta-ta!
I'm really glad that Navia is still around.
Neuvillette, do you think there'll be any problems now that the word is out?
Personally, I feel like Navia is like the gold standard for how you should write a character into the Archon quests. This is a hot take that I've been sitting on for probably about a year now, since I started playing this game around this time last year, which would have been the 3.1 update. Right before the 3.2 update, I think, was the trailer had dropped for it, I think. But anywho, around that time, I've been holding on to this thought where I feel like there's too many characters in the game that don't have meaningful story. And by meaningful story, I mean that they aren't really incorporated properly. As much as I love characters like Farazan or Rosaria, they don't really serve a purpose outside of just being another character to pull for. I guess another good character for a gold standard, I guess, would be someone like Dia, who was constantly involved in the Archon quest from beginning to end. Neuvillette is a character whose character story, we don't have a character story for her like Neuvillette, but at the same time, hers was baked into the Archon quest, which was kind of almost like a way of returning the favor for how she helped us with Lenny and Lynette in the first part of the Archon quest. If they don't have a narrative purpose to exist, outside of being a cool side character with their own story, I don't feel like we need to meet them. Because it just detracts and distracts from Aether in Paimon's journey, or Lumine in Paimon's journey, if you're playing with that. Navia is a good example of a good one. Dia is another. But technically, Ganyu and Ningguang are other good examples. As much as I love Keqing, she didn't really need to exist. She's mostly just there for like one line of dialogue in a cutscene, which could have been delivered by any number of characters. Another good example of a character that was there's a lot of story shorts, narrative-wise and story-wise. The Genshin Impact story could be a lot shorter and a lot more focused if they reduced the character count. There's 72 characters in the game right now, and if you realize that they're adding about like 8 to 16 characters in every year, by the time we get to Snezhnaya, there's going to be over 100. Anyway, that's enough of this rant. Let's just get back into this. Long story short, incorporate characters into the Archon quest. And mini rant, don't do a Charlotte and introduce them in a small, limited time event. They should be introduced in the main story proper.
I have already considered that possibility, and I do not think that there will be any. As a matter of fact, once the word gets out, no one would dare to harm Kiara in broad daylight. What is more important is how the case is perceived by the public. 400 years ago, they chose to side with the old regime and direct their resentment towards the Melusines. I hope the same won't happen again. Let us head back to the Palais.
Strange. What are these people doing out on the streets so late at night? Did something happen? Let's take a look around.
Have you heard? Someone's plotting against a Melusine. This is 100% the truth. Even the Chief Justice is investigating in person.
What? That's it! Who's been threatening Melusines? Show yourself!
Our enemies are lurking in the shadows and won't easily reveal themselves. But no amount of hiding will keep us from finding them.
Hey, that's a Steamberg reporter.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. The guards have already begun to take action. We can't just stand by and watch.
Hey, that was the guy that made a comment when we walked by him earlier with, Neuvillette.
Think about how much we owe them. Now that they're in danger, how can we just sit back and do nothing?
Man, times have changed in 400 years.
Everyone, please stay alert to your surroundings from now on. If you see any suspicious persons, report them to the guards immediately.
It feels like you've been following me this whole time. Did something happen?
We were informed that.
Nope. We just finished our shifts and happened to be strolling by.
Oh.
Have you had dinner yet? Why don't we check out the new items at the dessert shop together?
This isn't a good time to be out and about.
Come on, don't act tough. I bet you're hungry too.
All right, let's go buy a cake or something.
You shouldn't ever skip meals, especially if you have another shift scheduled for later.
I heard even Neuvillette's keeping an eye on the situation. This is the perfect chance to get promoted. We gotta make sure we give it all we've got.
Seriously? Were you planning to shirk your duties if Neuvillette wasn't involved?
Relax, I was just playing. We've worked together for years now. If something happened to them, I'd be haunted by regret for the rest of my life.
That's more like it. We should stand guard until the criminal has been caught.
Come and fight me instead, you cowards!
Have you heard? Even the special patrol came to help.
Shh! Look! Isn't that Neuvillette? I think he's looking at us.
I think he's looking at us.
Looks like there's nothing to worry about.
Times change, Neuvillette.
This is truly wonderful.
So, wanna go over and say hi?
No, I should stay where I am. My appearance could give rise to unnecessary commotion. Let us stick to our plan and return to the Palais Mermonia. The faster we uncover the truth, the better.
Alright, all the way back over here. Can I teleport into this? No, I can't. Okay. Making good time. It's only been about an hour. They're doing a much better time of getting these missions to not be like 4 to 5 hour ordeals. As much as I loved Sumeru, it did not need to be that long. There was a lot of needless running back and forth where you can kind of tell it was filler. A prime example of being which when we had to go and trail the doctor from Paris DI all the way to Port Ormos and then only to immediately have to run back to Paris DI. Stuff like that. That could easily, like, suck 20 minutes and add 20 minutes to a playthrough where it's not needed.
The smuggling case was solved by the joint forces of the guards and the Maréchaussée Phantom. This is the one. The list of involved suspects should be... Ah, found it.
What does it say?
The principal offenders Domenico, Inica, Yuna, and others have been caught. They have been sent to the fortress of Meropide following trial. Those with close connections or mutual interests with the offenders but who did not participate in the case will not stand trial. Among them, surveillance of Essin has ceased on account of his good behavior. All other personnel remain on our watch list.
So many names. Is the one who sent that threatening letter to Kiara on the list?
Yes, there is something suspicious about Essin, to be precise.
I wonder what indeed.
It seems like he's closely related to the core members of the smuggling case, and he moves around without much restriction.
Should we tell Navia about this?
Monsieur Neuvillette, someone claiming to be from the Spina du Rasula just checked in with us.
Alright, on cue.
He said, and I quote, "We have located the suspect. They're chatting at the cafe." Huh? How did Navia find them so quickly? We've only just figured out the suspect's name.
You never know, they could probably have another suspect.
I too am perplexed. The cafe isn't too far from here. We should head over and take a look.
Meet up with Navia. This is probably going to get wrapped up in a bow pretty quick. Always fun to do that. That's a big crowd.
Hey, Navia, we're here! Whoa. Check out all these people. Hey there, are you Navia's friends too?
These are the people who have had recent dealings at the Marechaussee Phantom. They're usually hidden in the Fleuve Cendre, but I sent for someone to invite them over.
Invite them over?
Exactly. Now, I heard there's great coffee here, and so I asked them if they'd like to come and have some.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to be guests of the Spina di Rosula.
I've wanted to have a meetup like this for ages.
I sense a weird sense of, I don't want to be here.
Something feels off. But, oh well. Let's get back to business. Is there anyone called Essan here?
Yes, that's me.
You're Essa?
Yes, Monsieur Neuvillette.
Did you write that threatening letter to Kiara?
I did, but I was just following orders.
Orders from whom?
Domenico. He was my boss. I couldn't disobey his orders.
Domenico? Where is he now?
Should be in the Fortress of Meripede.
The Fortress of Meripede.
Well, I'm afraid even the Spina would have trouble looking into that place. Looks like you'll have to make the trip yourselves. This was as much as I could do.
You've done more than enough. I am extremely grateful for your help.
Leave the formalities for later. You should find Domenico first. If he really is the one setting up the conspiracy, it'd be best if he's exposed as soon as possible.
Considering the way the Fortress of Meripede is set up, it doesn't surprise me that people would be able to handle certain things from within the prison. You would imagine influence can leave there.
Alright then, let's head to the fortress right now.
Continuing the current quest. Yeah, we'll continue. A new light.
Please escort the remaining guests back to the Fleuve Cendre. I appreciate your help.
Yes, boss.
Somebody recently pointed out to me that Navia's group is technically supposed to be representative of like a mob. I did not get that impression from the story in Archon Quests. And I really need to... start exploring that area for a map. Guess we're going to this one. I know I mentioned this in the previous stream, where I thought the Fortress of Meripede was a lot closer, but then I completely forgot that we take like a boat trip that gets kind of skipped during a cutscene. So we literally take like a sewer tunnel directly from underneath the Opera Epiclese that goes all the way over here. So it makes it really crazy that Neuvillette got back in such a short amount of time.
It's Monsieur Neuvillette?
Welcome to the Fortress of Meripede, dear esteemed guests.
We're back! Oh, and a greeting from none other than the Duke himself! Guess we made a name for ourselves at this place.
This isn't anything new.
I figured you had important matters to discuss when the two of you, not to mention the Chief Justice, showed up.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Let's assume we've gone through the pleasantries and cut right to the chase. I do remember a thing or two about Domenico. He once attempted to round up the other inmates and instigate a protest.
Who does this guy think he is? Paimon hopes nothing came of it.
He once attempted to, I said, meaning that it was over before it even started. And now he's threatening Melazines, is he? To be honest, Domenico doesn't seem like much of a conspirator. The fact that the three of you bothered to personally investigate raises a flag. Is there something else going on behind the scenes here?
We think that it might be a ploy to get actually at Neuvillette himself.
He's got the same concerns we do.
I am concerned about this incident because something similar has occurred in the past. I wish to meet Domenico in person and have my questions answered.
That's an easy one. Let me think. I think he's at...
Oh, did I hear someone say Melazine? What happened?
Sidwin!
Sidwin!
A Melazine named Kiara received a threatening letter.
Yeah, and we're investigating. The person who threatened her seems to be imprisoned here. Really? Is Kiara gonna be okay?
When are we going to address the fact that you have, like, a human face?
There's no need to worry. Clarande is protecting her as we speak.
Or can Melazines just take multiple forms, like every single other race in this setting?
Well, that's great. But if the criminal's still... Is there anything you can do about this?
Duval in human form win?
Head nurse. Do you require me to personally deal with the criminal?
Writhsley.
Oh no.
Okay, I get it. I'll bring Domenico to you. That's your only demand, correct?
Think of it as more of a humble request. I'm here on my own accord, not to formally transfer a criminal for trial. I urge you to set aside any concerns. Thanks for the trouble. Consider me in your debt.
Whoa. If Paimon were you here, Grace, Paimon would take this chance to ask for something really important.
Well, were I still a criminal, I'd probably ask for a lighter sentence. But I'm sure Monsieur Neuvillette would reject that. But enough jokes. I'll look for Domenico and bring him to you. Make yourselves at home. Our dear head nurse has mentioned you quite a few times, so I'm sure she has a lot to say.
Please come with me to the infirmary. And watch your step. There's some pretty dark areas, so make sure you don't trip over anything.
Oh boy. We're not gonna get any comments from Neuvillette from him walking around in the prison? Or, I guess, fortress? I don't know if they call it a prison all that much, now that my memory serves me. Neat! I didn't have to go inside. Jackpot. Infirmary's over that way. Lady Lynette and Freminette should still be in here too, right? I wonder if we'll run into them.
To Neuvillette?
Now that I think about it, I can leave this place soon. Huh? I'm Oriole, a member of the Mutual Aid Network. Is there something you need?
I must have been mistaken.
The Mutual Aid Network. I wonder why these people are voiced. Their voice lines were probably supposed to trigger as I was walking by with Neuvillette, but they didn't.
Please rest here for a moment. Oh, and would anyone like anything to drink? Paimon's not that thirsty, but thanks anyway. Thirst is a warning sign that you're dehydrated, which means you have to drink up even before that. I'll bring you some tea. I'm sure you'll have a lot to talk about. Typical Sijun. Concerned about everyone's health as always. Why aren't you two saying anything?
Criminals we passed by earlier.
You noticed them too. The badges they wore on their chests looked quite familiar.
Familiar? Hyman didn't even realize they were wearing them. But if both of you say so, let's go ask them about it.
Paimon and I will go. You're not exactly a sight for sore eyes around here.
That's not a bad idea. I will stay here and wait for news from you. I place great trust in Wriothesley, so I rarely visit the fortress of Meropide. However, exceptional circumstances call for exceptional measures. I hope I didn't cause him too much trouble.
Man, the gossip, the bombshell bros are gonna have a field day with this.
Anything you need?
Mutual Aid Network. Badge you're wearing.
Oh, this? Are you interested in joining the Mutual Aid Network?
What's that?
We have a very long history, going back as far as 400 years ago.
Oh no.
We have never had many members throughout our history, nor do we have much of a reputation, but everyone treats each other like family. Helping each other is our purpose. At the same time, we seek to maintain just dealings as much as possible.
Sounds like a pretty neat organization.
All we want is to defend ourselves. None of us have ever committed serious crimes, and we're not especially powerful either. We're at a natural disadvantage here in the fortress. But people won't give us a hard time if we stick together.
Interesting. Prison gangs.
Interested in joining the Mutual Aid Network? If you'd like to learn more, here's our flyer.
Mutual Aid Network advertisement. Help each other. Do all you can to further justice. Do not detest just judgment. The above are the 3 principles of the Mutual Aid Network. All are welcome to join. Membership is free. There is no compulsory group events. The Mutual Aid Network encourages members to do what they are able, including, but not limited to, cleaning, exercising, tutoring, studying. It is hoped that all Mutual Aid Network members will, during their time in the Fortress of Meropide, face up to the crimes they have committed, encourage each other, support each other, and welcome each other to the future together. Sounds like a union to me.
Our slogan may have evolved over the centuries, but our goal has remained unchanged.
Cool, what's the secret goal?
Here, this book is for you. You're welcome to come and sign up anytime.
Come on, stop lagging. Oh wow, we still have 1,100 coupons. Oh, the book is the advertisement. I thought it was a flyer, not a book.
You two look kind of familiar.
The badge you're wearing.
It's the symbol of the Mutual Aid Network designed by our first president.
Whom was?
From what I've heard, it's based on something called a Medal of Peace. I've never seen one of those medals for myself, though.
Medal of Peace?
The first president of our network was an amazing person. Powerful as he was, he never used his strength against anyone. He encouraged the weaker criminals to stick together and look out for each other.
I have a feeling I know who this is.
All of us have a lot of respect for him.
Darn.
We've gathered enough information. Let's head back and talk to Neuvillette.
Oh, now I feel sad. For assuming the worst.
Did you manage to gather any intel?
Mm-hmm. The people who wore the badges belong to an organization called the Mutual Aid Network. According to them, the badge's design was inspired by the Medal of Peace. Have you seen any of those before?
I have.
I personally crafted 2 of them myself. They were awarded to Carol and Vautrin. Carol's medal was destroyed in a fire. The only one that remained should belong to Vautrin.
Oh! So the network was inspired by...
Vautrin.
Monsieur Neuvillette, His Grace has requested your presence in his office. He's found Domenico.
All right. Let us talk to him first and get to the bottom of this situation.
Alrighty. We're already at the bottom of the ocean, so it shouldn't be much further down to go. Can I enter Radley's office from the top of the door? I cannot.
Allow me to introduce this fine gentleman, Domenico.
Not what I was expecting.
Why don't you explain everything to him?
Neuvillette? What do you want? What are you gonna do? Kill me?
Calm down. I merely want to ask you a few questions. Was it your idea to send that letter to a Melusine? Hassan has already confessed, so there really isn't any need to keep hiding.
That idiot! I can't believe I trusted him.
Let me ask this another way. It was your idea to send that letter, correct?
Yes.
Who is pulling your strings?
What? You're not trying to frame me for something I haven't done, are you?
I thought this was the top of the chain.
It's best if you realize the gravity of your situation. The Chief Justice of Fontaine has been personally investigating your case. I assume your previous attempt to incite unrest at the Fortress of Meripede has something to do with this as well.
I admit I acted on impulse. I'll tell you the truth. But before that, you must ensure my safety.
I can do that.
You see, we're all reasonable people here.
I only intended to do some small business at first. Someone contacted me about delivering some goods and promised me a generous sum of more in return. After making a few trips, I was suddenly approached by the Maréchaussée Phantom. They accused me of smuggling prohibited items, and I was put on trial. But I refused to accept any of that. The ignorant can be rightfully absolved from guilt, right? Well, I suspect that someone got me locked up here so they could get their hands on my goods.
And then you decided to take revenge on the Melusines? Over that?
Ignorance is not an excuse, by the way. It can be under certain circumstances. Like, there are some cases where it's really weird. Like, let's say I buy a car used, and then in the trunk of said car just happens to be, like, sealed underneath, like, one of the upholstery is just, like, a bag of stolen money from a bank. That's not on me. Or, like, I buy a car, or, like, a more common case that might occur in something like, in reality would be someone buy a car, and apparently, like, at the dealership, they had secretly put, like, drugs or something in one of, like, the rims. And then when the car gets driven across a state line or something, someone at that location who's been tracking the car will then either break in, steal the car, or take the drugs out the car. You're hopeless.
My initial target was Neuvillette. Everyone in the Fortress of Meropide was declared guilty by him after all. So they must more or less hold a grudge against him, right? If I could get them to strike back. But for some reason, no one wanted to team up with me. That mutual aid network in particular. What did those nobodies even gain from trying to challenge me? Seriously. In the end, I had to redirect my focus onto Melazines to salvage things. I recall that Kiara was the one who confiscated my goods for inspection. So I asked one of the more approachable guards to send a letter, claiming that I meant to contact my family. But the letter was in fact addressed to Essa. I requested that he write a threat letter to Kiara and force her to resign from the Maréchaussée Phantom.
Am I to assume that the claims you've made are your own thoughts? Have you been in contact with any suspicious people recently?
No.
Is it true that all members involved in the smuggling scandal have been caught?
Yes. And that's all I know.
Sigewinne, please take him back to the detention center. I'll deal with him later. So, Monsieur Neuvillette, you were concerned that there might be a shadowy faction looking to capitalize on the delicate situation with the Melazines to stir up greater chaos?
Yes. I experienced a similar incident in the past, so I had to be prepared for any possibility.
And how long ago was this incident?
About 375 years ago.
More than 400 years.
Not by my count, on the math from what we saw in the flashbacks.
You might be overthinking this. Time can change a lot of things. Everything's different now.
What do you mean?
400 years ago, you and the Melazines you brought to Fontaine were the outliers in society. But in the present day, if someone were to threaten the safety of the Melazines, people wouldn't just sit back and do nothing. I trust that they would make different choices from before.
That's right! We saw lots of people standing up for Melazines on our way back to the Palais Mermonia.
Monsieur Neuvillette, the Melazines are a species you introduced to Fontaine. How the public treats them is also reflective of their attitude towards you. When people refused to place their trust in Melazines, it was because they were still on the fence about you, their unfamiliar Chief Justice. For almost 500 years, you've conducted every trial with impartiality. You made the right judgment each time, regardless of whatever nonsense went on.
Well, with one exception.
People no longer have any reservations about you, and even consider you a symbol of the law. Right now, your every decision will impact all of Fontaine. In other words, you've gradually transformed the whole nation.
Paimon gets it now. No wonder no one wanted to join forces with Domenico.
Tragedies like that won't ever happen again.
I am undeserving of such high compliments. From my perspective, I have simply been fulfilling my duties.
But you need to look at it from other people's perspectives, too.
It isn't anything special or worthy of praise. I'm simply fulfilling the promises I've made and searching for answers through my judgments. It is unnecessary to hold me in such high regard. The complexity of human emotions and willpower far exceed those of mine. As a matter of fact, I believe that you are the ones who deserve my respect.
There's no need to be so modest. The current state of affairs says it all. You're no longer that outsider you were before. Even if you wished to investigate something on your own, many would take the initiative to lend you a hand.
I must say that you've made a fair point. Thank you for clearing my doubts. Now that the case has been settled, I should get going.
I'm glad there was no big shadowy faction pulling stuff behind the scenes.
Huh? You're leaving?
And so soon, too? Why not stay for a cup of tea?
Thank you for the offer, but I know how this place works all too well. While some are here to redeem themselves, there will inevitably be those who harbor resentment towards me. The less time I spend here, the better. My presence could very well result in an unwanted disturbance.
In that case, I'll have to insist. I still have 2 more things to say.
Please, go ahead.
The first is about the guard who helped Domenico send that letter.
Ah, I know of what you speak. The guard was indeed deployed from the Palais Mermonia's staff. However, as I mentioned earlier, I visited today on personal business. Therefore, I leave that matter in your hands.
Well, that makes things a lot easier.
You're not going to...
Hey now, don't let your imagination run wild. Those from up there have a tendency to sympathize with others. However, down here, such thoughts will put you at high risk. I'll have a chat with the guard and remind him to take precautions in the future.
I see no issues with that.
Great! That's one thing out of the way. What's the other thing you wanted to say?
T.
The other thing was born from my own sense of curiosity. Now, I've heard that you investigated the mutual aid network. Is that right?
Yep. Neuvillette thought their badges looked familiar.
I noticed the small gang as well when I first took over the Fortress of Meripede. They were not great in number, but every member always made sure to stand up for what was right. I've looked into their founder, Vautrin, who once stood trial and was sentenced to imprisonment in the fortress. According to existing documentation, Vautrin remained disciplined throughout his imprisonment. He had never once engaged in physical or verbal aggression. In other words, how he presented himself in prison was very different from his behavior in court.
What?
He doesn't hate Neuvillette. So in other words, everything that was going on in the trial was for show. He wanted to be punished. So he made him... So he went along with the crowd? Is that what you're getting at?
During his trial, I could sense that his feelings were complicated. He appeared to be full of resentment, and I believe he had every right to feel that way.
Perhaps he had been putting on an act.
An act?
Neuvillette and Vautrin had a close relationship as superior and subordinate. Vautrin must have known that the Chief Justice would make an impartial judgment. Thus, the more resentment he displayed, the clearer it would be to those present that you were upholding justice.
Interesting.
And to those who had been sitting on the fence, Vautrin's act was a very meaningful one. That's all from me. Does anyone else have anything to say? Now's your chance.
I don't have anything to say. Apart from expressing my gratitude, that is.
Vautrin was such a great character. He may have taken things a little bit too far, but it was a great character to meet, understand, and learn about. And I hope we get to see more interesting NPCs like him in the future.
Well then, let us head back. No need to see us off.
Now there was a cutscene.
Take care.
There was a cutscene in the trailer that we haven't seen yet, so I'm assuming it's probably in one of the world quests if we haven't seen it here. That being said, we normally get at least one cutscene per character story, on average. Unless it's about to happen right now.
That trial is something I rarely bring up in conversation, but I have always felt deep regret for what happened to both Carol and Vautrin. The words he spoke in court often replay in my mind, as if urging me on to do something.
But Risley said he never resented you, right? Isn't that a good thing?
It is.
I believe I now understand what he wanted to tell me. I feel conflicted about those words. How should I describe it? Surprise, relief, fear, and regret. But this blend of emotions has led me to finally understand some things. I would like to hear your thoughts, too. What do you think of me?
You have a little bit of an emotional problem, but other than that, you're fine.
With everything Risley said. As Chief Justice, every single one of your trials makes an impact on Fontaine. What do you think, Traveler? Hey, any comments?
Oh no, we're about to go into flashback land, aren't we?
What I really think is...
Oh!
Every trial you've ever judged has left its impression on you. And that's what makes you who you are today.
The rare voice line! As the Hydra Dragon Sovereign, Neuvillette still thinks of himself as an outsider due to his identity. But so much time has passed since then, perhaps the lines between him and humans have long since blurred.
That is indeed a reasonable assumption. As I said, I find it difficult to express my emotions because I cannot fully understand myself. but I trust your judgment. Since some time ago, I have begun to notice the changes that have occurred upon my person. These changes were not due to any specific occurrence, but emerged as a result of time itself. I will try to contemplate this further. Thank you both.
Interesting. Oh, here it is, cutscene.
Huh? It's raining! Oh no, Paimon forgot to bring an umbrella! Come on, let's hurry before it rains harder!
He can sense the emotions in the rain.
It's raining again? I've had enough of this weather.
There go my travel plans.
Did you read the news this morning?
Quick, put away everything on the clothesline.
When is this rain going to stop?
Hydro Dragon, don't cry!
So even he's heard the rumor.
They're planning to reanimate the monster. We have to report this to the Chief Justice.
The Fortress of Meripede. It's a good place for me.
Seeing a lot of his memories here. Cassius.
He owes me so many answers.
Neuvillette? You could say he's the real symbol of Fontaine's justice.
Watch him closely. He could be trouble.
How can two completely different species possibly coexist?
Who's been threatening Melazines? Show yourself!
You will see much in the human world, from the delightful to the depressing. And one day, when you have dwelt among humanity long enough, you will be placed to bring judgment over all as a spokesperson for Fontaine's past.
Good morning, Monsieur Neuvillette! The rainy season's almost over! The skies are supposed to clear in a few days!
I hope you find time to enjoy the sunny days ahead.
Now I'm sad. That was beautiful.
Is the matter resolved?
Yep, we found the person who sent that threatening letter. Wrisley said he'd keep a close eye on him, so the Melazines should be safe now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Sorry for dragging you all into this.
There's no need to apologize.
Yeah, you didn't drag us in. We got involved of our own accord.
By the way, where's Kiara?
Probably just doing her job.
At the Palais Mermonia. More than 50 people offered to protect her. Some even hid within the bushes to look out for danger.
Oh, that's adorable.
I was worried that the excess of protection would make her feel uneasy. So I asked her to stay inside the Palais. It's very safe in there.
I would assume so.
What a relief.
Well, now it looks like the dust has finally settled. To celebrate this joyous occasion, Monsieur Neuvillette, would you be interested in an exclusive interview?
That's not how you celebrate.
I'm with you on this one, Paimon, but you gotta give her credit. She's trying.
I will consider it.
Really?
Consider it.
Of course. My schedule is full for the following weeks, but I should be available next month. Come up with questions during the intervening days, and I will answer them to the best of my ability.
Loss of words there, eh? She's gonna pass out.
Yes! Thank you so much, Monsieur!
Now, if you'll excuse me, I must head back to the Palais and issue a communique to publicize our investigation results. I hope it will assuage the concerns of all.
Yeah, we can't exactly have a huge crowd standing outside the Palais.
Oh, an exclusive interview! Am I dreaming? What should I ask him?
You should be talking to your boss about that, not random passerbys.
Don't let anything hold you back. Make the most of this opportunity and ask away.
I agree. He'll decline any question he can't answer anyway, so you might as well give all of them a shot.
Kiara! Oh, she's asleep.
Kiara?
Monsieur Neuvillette? Sorry, I accidentally fell asleep.
It's quite all right. I'm here to tell you that we have caught the sender of that threatening letter. You're safe now.
Thank you, Monsieur. And thank you too, Traveler and Big Sis Paimon. Everyone's been so nice to me, so I've always felt really safe.
Do you remember Domenico? He was the sender of that letter.
Let me think. I can't remember. My memory isn't that good, so I easily forget things. By the way, I saw Carol in my dreams just now. Where's she gone, by the way? I haven't seen her in a long time.
Oh, my heart! Oh, that hurts!
In my dream, she looked really happy. She held my hand and said, "Kiara, our dreams have finally come true." I can't remember what our dreams were anymore, and I don't know why. But I felt really happy too.
I can sense your joy. It is indeed a delightful moment.
Monsieur Neuvillette, are you happy too? Oh, I almost forgot. Am I allowed to go out now? I promised to model for Epilogue.
Of course. Off you go.
See you next time, Monsieur, Traveler, and Big Sis Paimon.
See you next time.
Big Sis Paimon. I'm glad we get to see Neuvillette be happy. He definitely sounds like the guy with a resting sourpuss face. Reply note. Neuvillette's note. Away for personal reasons. We'll be back in a day. Farina's reply. Personal reasons? Oh me, oh my! Has our Chief Justice finally come to his senses? If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. You should follow my example and go out more often. You need to get to know your people better. Even if something unfortunate happens, you'll still run into lots of unique characters along the way. What do you think? The human world isn't too bad now, is it? Interesting. I like Farina. She's literally like a living meme to me.
I really can't fathom what goes on in her head sometimes.
Well, this was definitely a fun little bit of a distraction. But I have other things that I'm going to need to do. So in the meantime, I will see you all in the next stream. Not much else to say here. My overall final thoughts were, I thought this was a really good story mission. No combat, no Neuvillette demo, and the fact that there are certain scenes that I didn't see from the 4.1 trailer means that there's probably still stuff to do in the world quest. Now, by the time we resume Genshin, which I will probably do a different stream in between now and the next Genshin stream, we'll probably take some time to figure out what it is that I need to do in order to do the next world quests. I'm assuming there's 2, because it said I would interrupt 2. Now, there's one already that we can do. That is this unfinished comedy, which takes place in the fortress. And I believe there's another one if I talk to Catherine. And that's all. See you soon.